I always wait a second. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Eleanor Pryor, and my guest today is Shawn Hansen, and I'm super excited because Shawn reached out to me to tell me about how we would be able to create a Kindle empire off of kids' books. Shawn believes that this is one of the few Kindle markets that can be both fun and profitable for new and mid-list authors. And her reasoning for this is because of the growing market demand and the speed of with which these books can be written. And I'm super excited because she has recently released a new course called How to Write, Publish, and Profit with Kindle books for kids. So we're going to be talking all about how we're going to be building a kids book empire today with Shawn. So welcome, Shawn, everybody.
Thanks, Eleanor. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I'm super excited about the new Kindle Kids Book Creator software. This is something I've wanted to do for several years. In fact, a couple of years ago, I started writing my series of kids books when they brought out the comic book creator, and I tried to make that work, but it didn't. And so I kind of had to shelve the whole idea, which was very disappointing. So when this software came out, I jumped on it, played around with it, and I'm super excited by the results. In the last 2 weeks, I've published a book a week, a kid's book. I'm on track to publish another one this week, and that's part of what the course is all about. You can do it at your own pace, but these are great to do, lickety-split. You can write a top-quality kids book in about a week if you're really motivated and excited about it. Longer, that's okay too. But I'm going to walk you through the software and some of the reasons I think people should start writing kids books.
Great, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, we're going to do a little slideshow, we're going to do a little demo, and at any time, if anybody out there has questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A chat box, and I will take a look. And if I miss them, Eleanor, let me know, and we'll go from there. I love questions. So let me set up my slideshow for you. We'll open that up. And can everybody see the intro?
Yes, I can see the intro.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So let me push this forward. So a little bit about me. These are the covers of the three books, the three kids' books that I've published in the last probably 30 days. The first one was up in the left there, Magic Land. I followed that up with When I Grow Up, and then just last week I published Quick Draw the Frog using the Kindle Kids Book Creator software. I'm obviously an author, I'm a writing business coach, a product creator, a website designer, I do cover graphics, and I rescue animals, which is the coolest thing. You all can visit me at shawnhansen.com, and if you're not a member of my writing group, which is Write, Publish, Profit, you can get to me there at shawnhansen.com/WPP, which stands for Write, Publish, Profit.
And that is an amazing Facebook group. So there's always content and stuff going on in there. So you definitely want to join that group.
Thank you. So let's talk about what we're going to go over today. I'm going to tell you why I think you should write and publish Kindle Kids books, what kinds of books that I think you can and should write based on what sells very well, and what's fun too. The Kindle Kids Book Creator software, I'll go over the basics. Then I'll talk you through what you need to prepare your story for publication. And then I'll actually demo the software itself so that you get a sense of how well this works and how easy it can be to do. So let me start with why. Why write and publish Kindle Kids books? It's a huge market, and it's not going away. In fact, I think right now that the kids' ebook market is going to explode since there's an easy way to publish colorful picture-based books for Kindle, which has been a huge setback. People have been trying to translate physical books onto the Kindle in a variety of ways, and it's been very difficult to do. Not anymore. Now it's fairly easy to do. And the cool thing is, there are kids everywhere and adults who want to read to and with them. So this is really a growing market. And while other markets have their fans, because this one is filled with parents and grandparents and caretakers, as well as young readers who are making their own choices, the content that you put out there is in such high demand, it's amazing. And so as writers, we can take advantage of this new publishing tool and fill that need. I want to talk a bit about timing too, because if you're watching this live or on a replay before the holiday season, think about that. The timing's perfect. That holiday season that is a huge seller is just around the corner. And we all know what are some of the favorite gifts? E-reading devices. More and more are getting into the hands of people every day, and they're huge Christmas gifts, as are Amazon gift cards. So if you combine the fact that we have a big push in electronics and gift card spending coming up, and you start to build your backlist of kids' books, this could be huge for you. Book sales in general spike just before and just after the holidays, but this is going to be a season that I think we'll see a lot of kids' books being bought and sold because they're new. Now, there might be some people who know me and think, wait a minute, you're not really big on the whole Kindle platform. I actually generally steer people who are new and mid-list authors away, but as Eleanor said in the intro, this is an exception. Writing kids' books, publishing them, it's a model that's perfect for the KDP platform. The reason is this. KDP is super powerful when used correctly, but many authors aren't seeing significant profits because they don't have enough books for sale. It comes down to this. Tips, tricks, tactics, strategies, all the stuff that's out there, the key to making money as a KDP author, there are three things. Number one, choose a hungry market. Number two, write and publish quality books. And number three, release those books on a frequent basis. Now, it's not hard to do those first two things. You can choose a hungry market fairly easily. You can also write and publish quality books fairly easily. It's the third thing, releasing those books on a frequent basis, that trips so many authors up. And one of the things that I do is, and I'm sure you do too if you're an author, is I study the habits of the self-publishing authors who are killing it on Kindle. They seem to have one thing in common: lots of books for sale. So I take that as a model, and I think you should too. It's not practical to think you can earn a living or even decent money with just one or two books. This is a long-time publishing truth, and that's something that trips people up. Even back in traditional publishing days, most writers didn't really see a profit until that third book, and that's translated into the Kindle marketplace. The thing is, though, you have to keep churning out books, and that can get tricky. For most writers, attempting to produce a book every 4 to 6 weeks is pretty tough, but that's just what the financially successful authors on KDP are doing. Here's the cool part, though. With kids' books, you can do that. It's entirely possible to plot, write, and publish a quality kids' book in just a couple of weeks. And as I said, a motivated writer can do it in 7 days. If you have the time and the inclination, you could be producing a book a week, which means that this particular model fulfills the frequency rule. And kids' books lend themselves to series, which is another huge deal. Earning money on the KDP platform is a lot easier with a series. So for those of you who are used to me saying, branch out, don't focus entirely on Kindle, know that in many ways I still believe that, but when it comes to kids' books, it's a whole different story. It's a great platform, and with the new software, it's the best platform in my opinion. So what kinds of books can you write and should you write? Well, colorful, visually stimulating books with lots of images are a must when it comes to kids' books, which is the reason, again, this software is so exciting and powerful. But what kind of books particularly fly off the shelves? Now, there are two categories here. It's what kids like and what adults like. So kids love books that rhyme, books that take them on an adventure, and books featuring animals. Now, adults enjoy reading those, but they love another category, and that's books that educate without preaching. And remember, when Eleanor was talking about building a kids' book empire, what's very cool about this, when you take into account the fact that you can do these books, and I mean a really good book, a well-written, really nice product in about a week. If you choose one of these particular categories, the books that rhyme, the adventure books, the animal books, or the educational books, and you focus and create a 3 to 5 book series in one of those categories, you can begin to build a kids book empire very, very quickly. Which brings us to the software. So this stuff is brand new. It's been out for about, I think now, 5 or 6 weeks. Before I talk about that, though, I want to give you some background on e-readers, because it's all about e-readers that get us to where we need to be when it comes to this software. So if we go back in time a little bit, remember early e-readers featured just those grayscale screens and really just simple operating systems that were very limited. If you wanted to read a book out of the Sony ebook store, you had to have a Sony reader and so forth. So it was very, very limited. In addition, the user was given nearly total control over the ebook's layout. And that's a really important point. Today, it's changed a lot. The majority of e-reading devices are equipped with color screens, right? And they're high definition. They're excellent devices. They're more sophisticated when it comes to their operating systems. They can also handle multiple file types and configurations, which is why you can buy an ebook now across several platforms, and on one e-reading device, you can generally read them from multiple stores, which is very cool. Here's the key. Today, it's possible to limit a user's control over a book's layout. Now, that might sound like a step in the wrong direction, because as readers, don't we want to control how we read our ebooks? And the answer to that is yes and no. With an ebook that's primarily text-based, when you allow a reader to choose the font size, the type style, the book's orientation, and even the background color, it enhances that experience. That's the type of formatting most of us are used to. When we read our novels on our e-reading devices, we're used to being able to take control and make choices, and that's great. That format is known as reflowable or standard formatting. The problem is, if you try and combine an image-based book with that reflowable layout, everything goes sideways. And allowing a reader to take control of an ebook that's image-based not only diminishes the reading experience, but often the e-reading device isn't internally equipped to handle those choices. So image-based ebooks simply don't work when standard formatting is used. They require what's called fixed layout, as opposed to those reflowables that we're mostly used to. Now, the Kindle Kids Book Creator software allows us to create fixed layout books, which is essential to a good reader experience when we're talking about these image-based books. And that's the huge step that's been made. If you've been around publishing for a while, you're going to say to yourself, well, wait a minute, fixed layouts aren't new. They've been around. And that's true. But they've been complicated to accomplish. And the software moves us past that complication and makes it very easy for anybody to use it. So let's talk a little bit about the software. One thing I want to point out, it's not a writing tool, it's a publishing tool. So you do all of your work before you get into the Kindle Kids Book Creator software. That means you've written your story, you've collected your images, you've formatted your pages. This is the methodology you use to actually compile a pre-formatted ebook, one page at a time, or using a single PDF. And if you don't know what compile means, it's basically a fancy way of saying the software spits out the file that you need to upload to your Kindle, your KDP bookshelf. So it's the last step before you hit the publish button. Now, the Kindle Kids Book Creator software is a free desktop application, and it's cross-platform, which is good news. There are some applications out there that are limited to just PC or just Mac. This one's cross-platform. It's a really simple to use tool, and you can get it no matter what kind of a computer you're using. The interface is drag and drop. Takes just a few minutes to add files and create this fixed layout kids book that's ready for publishing. Now, there are a couple of things to note, and this will throw some people off, so I want to point it out, and I want you to understand this isn't necessarily, these aren't bad things, they're different things. If you are used to buying ebooks online, you probably shop and do the peek inside or the look inside. Well, if you create a book with this software, that look inside function is not there. However, you can still, as a consumer, download that free 10%. And what I think is very cool is because a person can't just peek inside, you get that opportunity to have them download and perhaps putting the right front matter into your book will also lead them to your website and an opt-in. So I think used properly, this isn't a downfall. I also would not be surprised to see Amazon in one of its many updates solve this problem. I suspect the reason you can't look inside of these books is because Amazon software isn't compatible for that preview yet. There's also a size and price issue with every ebook, not just these. Any ebook you publish, based on the file size, there's a minimum price that's set. And because these are going to be bigger files, it looks to me like most of them, the low end is $1.99. So that 35% royalty rate, instead of it going down to 99 cents, it looks like most files are going to start at $1.99. If you go up to 70%, it goes to $2.99 on the low end. But those are still really reasonable prices. Now, the other thing that's very cool about this software, it limits the type of people who can buy. And specifically, it limits a purchase to a reader who has a proper device. In other words, it's got to be a color device. I've noticed that before this software, many authors were creating standard layout kids books that were designed to be read on color devices with larger screens, and they would put out real effort in the book description, big asterisks and bold font and the whole bit. This book is designed for color readers only with large screens, and still people who had black and white devices or small screen devices would purchase them and then leave them 1-star reviews complaining. So I think this is a huge advantage, that if you create a book with this software, only people who have the right devices can purchase. And if you're worried about that being limiting, it's really not. Almost all of the Kindle devices now can read these. So anything that's color and Kindle will read these. Any iThing, so an iPhone, an iPad, Android devices that are color, tablets that are color, pretty much anything that will allow you to use the free Kindle Kids Book Creator, the free Kindle Reader app will allow you to buy and read these books. So it's not as limiting as it sounds, and I think it's a huge advantage to authors. So I brought up the file size. Regardless of the type of book you're publishing, Amazon currently allows files of up to 650 megabytes, which is fairly huge. At the 70% royalty rate, and most authors know this, but in case you don't, once you go up to 70%, you pay a download fee. It's a small fee that Amazon takes before they pay you your royalties, but after they take theirs. So it's an additional fee, and it doesn't matter what kind of book you write. This is every single book that you self-publish on Amazon. Now that fee is going to be a little more with a large kids book file, and a lot of people get very concerned about this. I've seen discussions on a lot of groups about how to compress things and make the files smaller and things like that. But if you format your documents correctly, whether they're standard or otherwise, and if you guys hear some noise in the background, I have a cat who has seizures, so he's having a little seizure. He'll be fine, but if you hear some noise in the background, that's what's going on. Sorry. So regardless of the type of book you're producing, there's going to be a certain amount of compression that's done by Amazon in the publishing process, and that's the same for kids' books. So if you create these files the right way, the cost to you for downloads is going to be negligible. But I want to point something out about this whole file size thing. Kids' books are all about color and images, and they're only readable on these color devices. We've talked about that. I also mentioned that many of them are large and high definition. So if you reduce the image quality too much, which will then reduce the file size, you're going to get a poor book, and the reader experience will diminish. So you may save 10 cents on a download, but in the long run, you're going to lose sales, and you want to avoid that. So I recommend that instead of worrying about file size, you worry about writing more. So to break it down to numbers, and I want to give you an example, my first book, Magic Land, is priced at $2.99. Each time I sell a copy, I get $1.82 in royalties. So that means overall, Amazon keeps about 90 cents per sale and charges me approximately 27 cents per download. Now, I could mess around and scrunch up the file and play around and see what was ideal, or I could spend that time writing another story that I can get published and up for sale, as opposed to fussing with images since I know I'm never going to get that fee down to zero. So I choose to spend my time writing more and publishing more. Now, once you've added pages or a complete PDF to the Kindle Kids Book Creator software, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, you have to preview the finished product in the desktop Kindle Previewer. If you don't already have that on your Mac or your PC, you can download the Kindle Kids Book Creator software version that has the Previewer. If you already have it, then you can just download the Kindle Kids Book Creator software. There are two options when you go to download. And by the way, you can get this software by just Googling Kindle Kids Book Creator software, and you'll get to the right page. Now, once you're previewing, you can continue to make adjustments to your ebook by adding and deleting pages, uploading a new file. When you're happy, you just save it for publication, and the software will output an entire file of content elements. This is something that people who have been publishing for a while will recall. So instead of it just being a single file, it's actually a folder with a whole lot of stuff in it that may look a little complicated at first, but you're looking for the content MOBI file, which is generally at the top of the list of file contents. That's what you're going to ultimately be publishing to your KDP bookshelf. When you save it for publication, you'll be able to name it something different, but that's the file you'll check. Now, the other thing that's different about this process, if you're doing standard formatting, you can use that Kindle Previewer and look on multiple devices. So you can preview it on an iPad environment or an iPhone environment. If you do this type of book, you actually create a separate file called an AZK file, and the software does it for you. But you do have to take that file and put it onto your device. And if you connect your phone or your iPad to your computer and drag and drop that file onto the Kindle app in iTunes, it opens it up and you can preview it. It's not that complicated. First time you do it, it can be a little confusing, but once you do it once, you'll know how to do it. Now, I told you that the software, the Kindle Kids Book Creator software, is just the last step. Before you use it, you have to prepare your story for publication. So there are three things that you basically do. You write your story. I happen to use Word, but in yellow on these slides, you're going to see there are free options for all of these. So if you don't want to write in Word, you can use OpenOffice, which is a free word processing application. I also create my pages in Photoshop, and you'll see an example of those in a little bit. But if you don't use Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator or fancy software like that, you can use a free online tool called PicMonkey. It's very powerful, and it will give you the same results. And actually, part of the training course that I offer has a PicMonkey training at the silver level. There are 4 levels in the silver level, which starts at $27. It's $27, includes PicMonkey training, so you can learn how to do this. And then finally, yeah, go ahead.
PicMonkey, I'm so sorry. I
Okay.
love PicMonkey. I can't live without PicMonkey. I actually have Photoshop on the computer, but I default to PicMonkey just because it's just so much fun to play in.
Oh, I
So,
know, and it's so much easier for a lot of jobs.
yeah.
It's so powerful, and I do too. I have Photoshop Elements, I have Adobe Illustrator, I have a ton of graphic stuff, but I almost always do the same thing. Is if I have a smaller job, I'll go ahead and use PicMonkey because all the tools are there, and it's such a simple interface. And like Eleanor said, it's so much fun to play around with. They have so many cool bells and whistles, and it's free. And for I think it's $30 a year, you get all the extras, and you don't need any of the extras to create these books. The training shows you how to do everything in just the free version. So,
Okay. But
yeah,
for
it's very
30
cool.
bucks, it's like a total no-brainer. I live and it's just like, it's just, yeah, PicMonkey. Images are pinnable, everything. It's just beautiful. Okay,
Oh
I'll
yeah,
stop.
yeah.
I'll get over my PicMonkey rant.
um, And then the final thing I use is Adobe Acrobat Pro to create single PDFs that I then compile. So each of my page images I turn into a high-resolution PDF, but there are free tools again. I'll be showing you today PDF Merger because I'm on a Mac, but there's a free option for PC called PDF or PD Fill PDF Tools. So there are free ways to do all of this stuff. Which takes me to, I want to do a short demo for you. I want to show you what some of my pages look like, and I want to show you what I do to get those pages into the software. So let me switch my window here, and I am going to, hi everybody, I'm still here. I'm going to share a different screen. And this is one of the pages that I created. This is the first page of my book, When I Grow Up. Now, this isn't the front matter. This is the beginning of the story. And I'll show you a couple of other pages as well. Let me open that up. Let's see if it drops into this window. I probably have to switch this, so let me go back and make sure that you can see the screen that I'm looking at right now.
We're looking at the astronaut in space.
Yeah, let me take you to the rest of the pages.
Okay.
Okay. So do you see the astronaut on the moon now?
Yes, sure do.
Okay. So this is page 2. And then I have a recurring cat in this particular book. And all of these graphics, I'm using fancy fonts. So I set up a nice playful font. The pages are very colorful. And I'm using, at this point in these books, stock images. And Eleanor asked me this at the beginning when we were just chatting before we went live. Am I doing all the drawings? At this point, I'm not, although I'm actually just starting to do my own vector graphics so that I can really branch out and offer more products and services for people. I'll be selling story plots and graphics packs in the very near future, probably Black Friday, hint, hint. But for now, the training walks you through the process of getting really nice stock images to fill your books with. Now those do cost, that's your expense, but I tend to spend $50 or less per book, and I'm always on the lookout for vector graphic packages and images that I can use in this kind of electronic ebook. So I keep my eye out, and then whenever sites that I use have sales, I tend to grab images that I know I'll use later. So these pages that you're looking at were created in Photoshop, but it can be done in PicMonkey. And there's basically 3 layers going on here. The background is a consistent layer. Then I have the text, and then I have the central cartoon image. And when I get ready to put it all together, I save it as a high-quality PDF file. So these are individual page files. So I've written my story at this point. I've collected my graphics. Then I go in and I do my individual page art. And the next step is to put these pages together into a single PDF, because I like to do it that way. It's quicker for me. But before I do that method, I'm going to jump into the software and show you that you can actually do this one of 2 ways. And I'll go back and switch my screen here real quick.
While you're switching, one of the reasons I had asked Shawn if she was drawing her own images is because I thought it would be fun for my 9-year-old who likes to draw a lot to do something like this. And she's just been recently, she draws a lot on paper, but she's been recently playing in Paint on the PC. So it's kind of fun to watch. And I think this would be something fun to do maybe as a co-author with somebody. I might have to give her to Shawn.
And Eleanor, you bring up a really cool point. This is a great business model, but it's also a great learning model. If you're an adult and you are a parent, a grandparent, a niece, you've got a niece and nephew, you're caretaking any kids, spending time around kids who always need projects, you can do exactly what Eleanor's talking about. You can get together with one or more of your children or other children. You can create storylines together. You can do the artwork together. You can co-author books. You can really get kids involved in the art process and the reading process, which is huge. This is something that I'm working on spreading the word to parents who homeschool as projects and things like that, because there are so many possibilities with this software outside the scope of, hey, I'm going to turn this into a business. Imagine your child being involved in that regard with your business and getting that kind of a foundation and having a good time too. You know. Um, so let me show you the software here. Jump back to that page. Get this stuff out of my way. See if I can find it. I seem to have, there's the software. I know you guys can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you notice here you can open an existing book or create a new kid's book. I always create a new book when I test things out. I just like to start clean and easy, but know that you can save these and come back, so you don't have to do this all in one sitting. This screen here gives you an overview of what you need, and in essence, you need finished work. And then you hit continue. You have to fill in some very basic details.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Are we supposed to be seeing the Kindle, just the
Oh,
blue
let
screen?
me do something. Let me pull, because a little window popped up, so let me pull up the pop-up window on the screen share.
Okay.
There's a little teeny tiny pop-up window. There. So when you click on Create New Book, this little mini window comes up. And you got to put in your title and your name. And if you have a publisher, I use my own publishing company, Flying Donkey Press. You choose the language. And then this is the folder that this software will put a ton of stuff into that may seem intimidating at first. I'm going to go on my desktop and just create a new folder, and I'll call it Demo Book. Create that and then choose it. And then I'm going to hit Continue. Now, I've done a lot of experimenting here. Traditional kids books tend to be either square or elongated. They're very seldom portrait. So for our purposes and the books that I'm writing and my testing, I've found that landscape is a much better option. And when you create pages in landscape mode, the software knows, and it tells the device, oh, this reader opened up a book, I'm going to push the visual to landscape. So the reader can't control that. If you set it up landscape, that's how it will appear on the screen. I also prefer this one image at a time. The side-by-side images may work in some instances, but I really enjoy the full screen page layout, and it also allows me to control the reader's experience more. And I'm not trying to be selfish doing that. I really want to ensure that the reader gets the best interaction with the books, and right now these landscape single image pages seem to be working the best. Once you choose that, and of course you can do it the other way, play around, experiment. Your book may be better suited to the side-to-side images. Once you choose, if you go landscape in one image, the other choices go away. So I'm going to hit continue, and then I get two options. I can either import the entire book at one time, so it's a single PDF with the first page being the cover, or I can import the cover first and then work from there to create the book a page at a time. So I'm going to select this second option and then choose my cover image. And let me I didn't grab a cover image, so I'm going to give you a cover image that doesn't match the inside, but it'll be easy for me to grab. And this is the cover from Quick Draw the Frog, the book that I just created, but the inside is going to be from When I Grow Up. Now, I click Start Adding Pages, and I need to flip you guys to what I'm looking at because, once again, the pop-up has now gone away, and I've got a whole new screen to look at. Okay, so Eleanor, can you see the layout here of this? There's a window within a window.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what we're looking at right now is the Kindle Kids Book Creator software interface, and the little window on top is allowing me to choose pages. So I've set some pages aside, and I'm going to grab these individual pages and just click open. And now the software is going to import these pages and allow me to make changes, to add, to delete, to do some other things along the way. Now, while this is uploading, I want to talk about two things. In the upper left-hand corner, you can add pop-ups and add text. I think eventually these tools are going to be very useful, but my testing thus far has shown that the pop-ups aren't really effective, and I don't really like the control I have over the add text, which is why I do all the work beforehand and just import my finished artwork to create this book. The pop-ups will take small text and do what it sounds like, pop them up to larger text, which sounds really cool. But if you think about this, who's going to read a kid's book on an iPhone or an Android phone? I mean, people are going to read these things on iPads and tablets and e-reading devices that really, if you plan your art correctly, I can read this book, all of my books, if I open them up on my iPhone, they read perfectly well. I don't have to do anything to enlarge the font. Okay, and I read glasses. I have to have glasses when I read. I can take my glasses off and I can see this stuff clearly. So I don't think the pop-up is super effective right now. I don't think the software has really caught up to that technology. Play around. When you create your books, experiment like I did, make your own choices. I've decided to create my art in advance. So what I have now are my pages, and I can move these around. I can drag them and drop them. Remember, I said this is a really simple interface. I can organize these. If a page gets out of order or I need to add a page, I can come up to add a page or delete a page and present these, get them in the presentation manner that I want them. When I do that, and I'm happy, then I go up to Create Book Preview. And this is actually going to compile these individual files, and then it's going to pop up the Kindle Preview software, and it'll show you what the book looks like. While the Kindle software is popping up, it's also in the background making a decision, and I'll probably, because I have to switch my screen again, so you'll most likely miss this, but it's deciding, oh yeah, this is landscape mode, so I'm going to turn the reading device so it's horizontal. Now we're looking at a Kindle Fire HD. I like to go up and do the 8.9 high definition, 8.9-inch screen. This is the largest that most people will see it. This is basically close to what you would see on the larger iPad, and this is the biggest, most high-definition Kindle. And notice how crisp and clear all this is. So if I go to the cover image, and I tend to do these standard size, you can do them full length. Then I page through, and again, this doesn't have the front matter in it, but this is the first page, and you can page through this whole book and make sure you like it. And as long as it meets your standards and you're ready, then you can close out this previewer, and I'll take you guys back to the software. And then I go up to File and Save for Publishing. This is where I get to name my file. And I'm just going to call this demo book, and I'm going to put it on my desktop so it's very easy to find. I save that. Now, what's happening here is the Kindle Kids Book Creator software is creating the file, the Mobi file you need to go directly to your KDP publishing platform, onto your bookshelf, and upload this file. You now have a finished file ready to go. So I'm going to click OK, and I'll show you what this looks like on my desktop, because I want you to see this folder, because it's this awkward folder that I told you about that has all this content. So let me go. Ooh, I know one of these buttons will put us into that crazy forever loop. So I hope this isn't the wrong button to share. Okay, good. So now you can see Eleanor looking at me, but you can see my desktop, and what I want to show you is this folder that got created. Eleanor, can you see a folder called Demo Book with some contents? It's probably very tiny.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, so,
We missed the crazy loop.
oh, good. I know one of those does that. It's like, 50-50 chance I'll click this one. This is the folder that we created. Remember, I called it Demo Book, and I said that when you go through and you create that preview file, this is what the software churns out, and it looks super complicated. And if you just know that this content file at the top is actually the Mobi file that you need to upload to Kindle, that's all you need. But when you click prepare for publishing or create a publishing file, which is the last thing we did, you'll notice you get to name it. And that would be the name of your book. And this is the file that I actually take to my KDP bookshelf and publish. So that's the basic process of doing all this stuff. Let me flip back once again. Look, I'm back. I'm all looking up and down and clicking buttons and
That's pretty cool.
so pretty much you know now why you should write and publish Kindle Kids books, what kinds you can and should publish and write, or write and publish. Had a little overview of the Kindle Kids Book Creator software, and I've talked to you about what you need to do before you open up that software to prepare your story. And you've seen not only what the software is about, but how to use it. So I know there are going to be questions because I can hear Eleanor. I watched you writing notes. Eleanor, I know you have questions. I do want to show people the course that we're talking about today is called How to Write, Publish, and Profit with Kindle Kids Books. That's the cover of it there on the far left. And as I said, I'm using the methodologies I teach in this training to write these kids books. And you can see the 3 kids books that I've written. Quick Draw the Frog was released Friday, last Friday. The week before that, When I Grow Up, and 2 weeks before that, Magic Land. So this process really does work, and you can pick up your copy at eleanorloves.com/Kid Empires. And I will just shut down. Well, actually, I can put this. Can you drop that link for people?
Yes, I can drop that link in the on the event page, and also Eleanor Loves. It's all lowercase.
Okay.
Yeah, my one thingy is really funny.
Sorry about that.
Oh no. It's okay. It's no big deal. I will drop the link in the chat. Oh, now it's letting me do it. I don't know why it was being funny, but yes, I have questions, but Eleanor cannot type and think at the same time, so. Empire. That is what it was, right? Yes, kidding. Now I'm going to have to ask you to remind me, because now that I'm quite second guessing myself, it is loves.com/Kid Empires. And then also,
Yes.
Let me to a different page. But while I'm waiting for it to let me go back to the page I wanted to go back to, multitasking sometimes in a Hangout does not work for me. So one of the things, okay, here we go. We'll share. There's that. And now I can come back to the screen and not feel funny. Yeah, yes, I was totally writing different things. So one of the things that you brought out earlier was how the market is hungry.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay, so the kids' books. This is like we were talking earlier with like my daughter, the project. So if you have a hungry market and you write and publish and get these quality books up, but usually most people, like you said, their problem is getting multiple books done. And now that we've talked about PicMonkey and how easy PicMonkey is to maneuver, which is a total side point, have you seen the new theme, the comics themes that they have
Yes,
now?
yes, I have.
Is that not
It's
amazing?
fantastic.
Right. So I can just imagine creating a book using that background. But the whole thing, I got sidetracked because I remembered that and I wanted to share that. That the frequency of releasing now, just imagine having like a kid that's like extremely creative. So you can't use the excuse that, oh, I'm not really creative. I can't write books for kids because I'm not. Um, there's other ways, right? Just
Oh
besides, like,
yeah.
I have this 9-year-old. I can pick her brain. We can write, and then, like you said, Black Friday, you're going to have some topics.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm starting to release some pre-written plots. So many people are familiar with plots, but they're kids books. So it's the concept of writing for kids books. And I'm working on graphics packs that go with them because I know the illustrations can be a challenge for people, the cost involved and the rights and things like that. Ultimately, what's really cool about this process, going back to what you said as far as being able to do it with kids, the frequency, my whole belief in the Kindle platform comes from being able to produce enough quality work and engage a readership gradually over time. And the nice thing about kids books is because kids love extra activities and things to do, the website that I'm building to go along with my kids' books, again, it's just like any typical website business model. You drive traffic from your book back to your website, but the added incentive with kids' books is you can upload activities, coloring pages, mazes, things like that that really drive traffic. And there's other things that I talk about in my courses, ways to really, once you have book number one and number two, you can use book two to promote book one and so forth. And as you go in and you start to really manipulate your front matter and your back matter, you can engage people and offer parents and caretakers activities and freebies. And I'm not a parent, but I know enough parents and enough caretakers, and I've been around enough kids. Hey, we're handing them off our devices, and that's great. But imagine being able to hand off a device, and instead of a video game, it's a really cool book, and they get to read, and then they can go to a website and get extra activities. I know that appeals to adults, and I know kids will love creating the content as well. So I really like the potential of what this particular platform has to offer. And when you talked about creativity, here's the thing. We all have favorite kids books from our childhoods. Any of us who are writers, we're big readers, and we remember the Dr. Seuss books, which was my favorite. I mean, I had the little golden books, but Dr. Seuss is hands down still one of my favorite series of books. And you have to do research, which means you're going to have to take yourself to a bookstore or a library or get on Amazon, and you're going to have to look at some of those books. Terrible, I know, having to
I
go back
know.
and enjoy your kids' books. And there's all kinds of really popular series out there now that you can model your business after and just be creative. It's so open, and the thing about kids books is they're kids just aren't judgmental. So pick a topic, anything from hairstyles to lunch, what everybody has at the cafeteria. If you put a creative spin on it, you can have a plot for a really cool kids book.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Halo is dreaming in her sleep, so she's making these noises. I don't know if you heard her or not.
Kitty.
And my doggy. And so, yeah, so that's really neat too. And then the frequency is what actually compounds your income. And in like kind of like right now, I have one of my other kids. She's 15, and she's like in a hurry to go get a job. But it's it's really kind of not easy to find jobs these days. So this is even another way I'm thinking for kids. Um, Literally, it doesn't have to be your empire, your kids' book empire. It could be your kids' book empire. So there's all kinds
Absolutely.
of different, if they have an interest in things like this, that they can learn and take and go forward with that, and that they can have their own. little, how old do you have to be to write a book on Kindle and have your own KDP account? I'm
You know, I
throwing
have
you a
no idea.
curveball.
I have
Okay,
no,
that's something I
I
need to
have
check
never
out.
even thought about how old you have to be, but I would presume at the very least, as a parent or a guardian, you can certainly help your child open up an account.
Right.
Good point, and I'll have to. Now you have me curious. I'll have to see if I can find out. There's probably some 14 or 16 or 18-year-old deal, but as long as there's an adult involved, I do know that there are parents out there writing with kids who are 6, 7, 8 years old, and they're
Right.
co-authoring. So there's definitely a way to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the other thing that you brought out that really piqued my interest was a series. So I have a story to tell you behind this one because this series. So my husband was really adventurous when he was growing up as a kid, and he grew up in Lake Isabella, and he has my aunt. She's not his aunt. She's my aunt. She's so cool. His Aunt Renee. She used to take him and his cousin Nick when they were little boys, and whatever they wanted to do, she would take them to go do. So they would go up into the mountains, and these little boogers would hunt and capture lizards. And they have this
Oh.
really cool parade in Kernville, which is like up in Lake Isabella, and it's called Whiskey Flats. So my aunt is really crafty and creative, and she paints, and so she made these lizards little outfits. So they have little outfits and everything.
Oh,
So the
how
boys
adorable.
walk them in the parade. And then, like I said, so he tells me all these, and our 9-year-old, all these fun stories about how mischievous him and Nick were. And then there's a river that runs straight through the town. And so there was this another lady was like telling me that I met, her name is Lori, that knew them from when they were little. She goes, yeah, we're all sitting by the river, and on the other side of the river there's like these mountains, and there is these two boys climbing the mountain, and a steep mountain, and these little boys climbing the mountain. So their adventures, I mean, so I can see take having my husband, who's still very mischievous, but having those adventures and those stories that somebody's telling you, like, because when we went to go visit her, she had so many more stories to tell about them, and turning that into a series. So
Oh,
series is not
absolutely.
that hard.
Nope. No, and kids love series books. Parents love series books. And the thing about kids' books is series can be very loose. It doesn't have to be as tightly woven a series concept as with an adult set of series books because a character, you have a hippopotamus that appears in a book that's just a minor character, and you take that hippopotamus and you make that hippopotamus the central character in a new book, and now those books are linked, which is another sales plus at Amazon. So my books are called Brainy Kids Books. I put them under a series title, and so now they all show up together. So it's a powerful tool, and again, kids, they're so much more flexible about stuff. I mean, they're geniuses, so you can't shortchange them. You have
Mm-hmm.
to treat them like the geniuses they are, so the quality and the storyline have to be great. But they're willing, their suspension of disbelief is instantaneous. With adults, we have to work at getting them to believe make believe, but kids are all about it. So the creativity level, like you said, the adventure stories, really, really super. They're easy to do, and they make real sense with kids' books.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on is leads to opt-ins, like you said, because there's not that preview of the book on Amazon, like you said. So I
Right.
was thinking, you were pointing out how it could be a lead to the option opt-in to the website, or just a link to the website. I was also thinking that it would be like gotcha, because they can down that percentage of the book, and they start reading that percentage of the book, and it's like, oh, I need to know what happened. Let me buy
Absolutely.
that book.
Yeah, it's sort of once you get that on their reading device, if they're interested, they're going to open it. And so if you've got a link to your site, and the kids' book site that's going with these books, I'm launching on the 1st of December, and they're all going to have extra activities that go with the book. And as soon as that site's launched, I'm going to adjust my description so that right at the top, download freebies and extras, get a preview here, and drive people back to the site. Not just for opt-in, but for interaction, because that's part of it too, is not everybody's going to opt in all at once. But if you get them engaged with your website and you get them to bookmark you and they know that they can come back and get activities for their kids, that's huge. Eventually, they will opt in. It might not be the first time, but it's a little different market. Where you have adults who have super short attention spans for their own stuff, it's click, 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 click. If you've got something that you think might work to entertain your child, you're more apt, I think, to bookmark it and go back and check things out, because it's a constant struggle to keep kids entertained, you know. And kids they bounce from idea to idea to idea, which is another reason being prolific as a writer with kids books, they start to swallow this content up. And you can tell if you look at kids books on Amazon, you can see that these books are selling. Amazon has even gone out, some of you might not know this, this is super cool. They brought out the software, which is great, but they also have an entire kids division now. And they've created a special HD Kindle just for kids that's ruggedized. So it's got a big old rubber case around it, 2-year warranty, no questions asked. Pretty much if your kid skateboards with it or uses it as a snow disc down a hill and the screen breaks, Amazon replaces it. That's it. I mean, they are serious about this market, and if Amazon is serious about a market and taking all these steps, we have to know as writers this is going to be huge. I mean, kids aren't going anywhere. There's going to be more and more and more kids, and they're always going to want to read. So it's really exciting.
There's that, and then like you said, driving them back to your website when you do have that up, it's going to do several things besides the fact maybe they know Optin right away, but you're going to be you're nurturing a relationship with them.
Yep.
And then as a parent, I know if I find something that I really love, all the other parents that I hang out with or know are going to know about it.
Absolutely.
So
word of mouth advertising with parents is a huge thing. You know, the babysitters, the caretakers, the parents that hang out at the park, they talk to one another. So if you can engage people and make them happy, the word will spread. I don't usually start promoting a series of books until I have 3 completely done. But just putting my books up, I'm getting several sales a day, which I think is phenomenal, with no marketing whatsoever. And as is typical with books, the first book, there was a sale here or there. Well, the second book came out, and it sold some, but it drove people to buy the first book. And now that the third book is out, gradually the sales are beginning to spike. It's nothing spectacular, 5 to 10 sales a week, but I'm not marketing yet, and I only have 3 books. And by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm probably going to have at least 5, maybe 6. So I think that circular pattern of create the books, drive the traffic to a nice website, get people engaged, get parents talking, caretakers talking, it's a win-win. It's a win-win situation. And these books are a blast to write, by the way. Writing's hard. All writing is hard at certain points, but there is so much fun you can have writing kids' books. It's so satisfying, and it's just, if you have a little bit of kid left in you, this is just going to make you smile. It'll make you happy to sit down at your keyboard.
Well, there's that, and then also, too, okay, so now that you're talking about this whole intertwining of all the books, that's total automation. That is like passive income,
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
gosh, I'll give you when I talk about passive income. So I have another question, too, before I forget. So,
yes.
Okay, but before I say that, that's nurturing, that's engaging, and that's automation. And why those words are in my head is because of a webinar, but that's a whole other story. How many pages do you make your kids' books? How much is little and how much is too much?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I break down the different categories of kids' books in the training course. It really depends on the level that you're writing to. My books are designed, they're very much the Dr. Seuss age group, so it's the younger kids that are primarily being read to, but they're also beginning to read on their own, so the 3 to 7 year age range. And those are right around 24 formatted pages. But there aren't particular rules. Those things will range from 20 pages to 40 pages. It really just depends on the age level within the range you're targeting. The older the kids, the more complex the story, the more number of pages. When you break it down to the very, very basic picture book, which is literally no plot, it's A is for apple, B is for banana kind of stuff. Those can be 10 pages, 15 pages. You just have to make sure that you're producing, a quality read that satisfies the parent at that point. You go a little bit longer as you go up to stories that have plots. And then this software is not really made for chapter books or middle grade books or young adult books. But everything up to that, the software is perfect. So you transition with kids to a point at which they're not looking for color images and there's more text on the page than there are pictures. Those tend to be the upper age range of the chapter books and the middle grade books. They're the Wimpy Kid diary kind of books. That's a whole different process. That's more of the traditional formatted, the standard. There's still illustrations, but the story doesn't rely on them. So for the Kindle Kids Book Creator software, you're talking about stories that either plotless for really young kids, or the stories that have to stand on their own but need images to make an impression. And again, 10 pages to 50 pages, somewhere in between, kind of covers that gamut. My advice, research the type of book you're writing. Look for the authors in that specific target area. See how many pages that they're writing and model that. Look at the traditionally published authors because those parameters haven't changed.
Cool. And then, so we covered series, the amount of pages, and so one of the questions, and I wasn't following this quite well, so when you're formatting the book, there's an app that you can look at how it's going to look on using the iPhone or the iPad, or was I misunderstanding that?
No, the Kindle Previewer app is what you use to preview all of your Kindle formatted books. With the standard format, you can go in and you can kind of click around and it will transition from the Kindle to the iThing. With these particular types of books, it actually creates a whole new file. So the file that you use to preview on Kindle is different from the file that you use to preview on an iPhone or an iPad. Now the software will create that iThing file, but you actually have to transfer it to your iPad or your iPhone. However, the really cool thing is you upload that Mobi file when you publish. Mm-hmm. Amazon knows which file to deliver to the customer based on the device he or she is reading on. So if you have a color Kindle and an iPhone, you'll get two file types. And when you pull it up on your iPhone, it'll be that iThing file, but on your Kindle, it'll be the Kindle file. So it's just an extra step. I cover that in the training. The basic training course, which is just $17, it's a PDF, and there are 4 training videos. And the training videos go over how to create the pages, how to prepare your manuscript, how to use the software, how to preview your files both on a Kindle in a Kindle environment and an iThing environment. It also includes the accelerator bonus, which is how I'm writing these books in 7 days. You get cheat sheets, because that's the other thing. This can be complicated. Ages and grades, a child might be 4, well, what grade is that? If you're not a parent, you don't know. So I give you a cheat sheet. You also age-appropriate words, because the whole fun of reading with a child is that careful balance between language they know and the new words they need to experience. So there's a cheat sheet that talks about age-appropriate words that's included. And also I give you some background templates so that you don't have to worry about formatting your first book, because I like to use really colorful backgrounds, so you get templates with that. Mm-hmm. So that's the basic level, that's bronze. We talked about silver, which includes PicMonkey training. And this is all, these videos are about an hour and a half long. I mean, I go through the process, you watch over my shoulder, it's live, it's real-time training. And I create the entire set of images. I show you how to do that in PicMonkey, so you can get excited again over PicMonkey.
Yeah, giddy.
So yeah, if you go up to silver, which is $27, you get everything in the bronze pack, plus you get the PicMonkey training, and you get 5 pre-written plots, especially for kids' books. So you can jumpstart. If you want to get started and have a book done at the end of the week, you could go silver and have that done. Just you sit yourself down and you get it done. Gold is $67, and you get all of that plus a course. So let's say you want to write kids' books, but you don't know how. You don't know what the rules are of rhyming books. You've never really understood what an adventure book is. You don't really know how to plot or use storyboards. that includes what I call story time, how to write, publish, and profit with kids' books, any kids' book. So it's applicable to the Kindle platform and otherwise. So you get that at the gold level. And then if you really want to hang out with me and you want to build a kids' book empire, you can go Ultimate for $297. You get all that stuff. Plus, we'll talk one-on-one 4 times. We'll set up your game plan. I'll walk you through how to build a stunning website. I'll talk you through how to get that done, how to drive traffic back and forth in your book. So remember, we talked about front matter and back matter, how to create and monetize those on-site extras, because that's a really important part. Growing your list and your readership. Spin-off products. You know, you get a great series going, you need spin-off products. So how do you do that? What kind of products work? So it's every level. You can start with just a small commitment and really get your books going. And from there, it's kind of up to you. You know, I love that the holiday season is coming and that you could put these books and get them up online and have people buying your books as holiday gifts to fill up those Kindles and those iThings.
Yes, this is a good season.
Yes, it is.
Everything Amazon.
Yeah.
Everything Amazon.
Gift cards, gift cards, gift cards.
Physical products to digital products. It's a great season.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is a happy Amazon seller. So this is great. So now we've covered lots of wonderful things, and you can see that it is, no matter what level you're at, it's definitely an opportunity that you can create your kids' book empire at any point in time. So if you go to eleanorloves.com/kid empires, and it's all lowercase, and we all know I don't know how to spell the word love, so it's LUVS. You can go ahead and grab this and get started on your kid book empire. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to thinking during the holiday break that they're off for 2 weeks. I'm thinking this might be something fun to do with
Excellent.
Alice, especially after you saw her drawings. I just need to figure out the vector part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't have to be vector graphics. They can just be regular JPEG, PNG, as long as they're high definition. Mm-hmm. That'll work too. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be fun.
And I'm thinking something along the lines of the comic theme from PicMonkey, and seeing what she would do with that. That would be so much fun. So,
absolutely.
Thanks so much, Shawn, for hanging out with me. And again, everybody, if you do purchase off of the link that's on my lower thirds there, it is my affiliate link for Shawn. And I'd like to say thank you, but I'm super excited. This is a whole other way. I mean, I was really giddy about Kindle books last year, and I wrote a Kindle book. Yeah, I wrote one, and it had nothing to do with anything that I do, but I was really motivated. It was Brian Johnson. I watched his webinar, and he got me so excited, because I wasn't really excited about writing Kindle books, and he got me so excited that I got this Kindle book up. But this is like, wow, I don't have to think that much. I can just find some cool images and go from there. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like going to work and playing. It's like being paid to jump rope or something.
Yeah, it's like kids stuff, having fun.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I'm going to end the broadcast for everybody, and I just wanted to tell everybody thanks for coming.
Thanks,
and it was
everyone.
a pleasure talking to Shawn. Have a great afternoon.